Welcome back, fight fans. In today's video, Joe Rogan defends Conor McGregor.
Here's the thing about a broken pinky toe. When you're a guy who kicks as much as Conor, it's a fucking problem.
100%.
And it's also the same foot where his leg was snapped and he went into that fight injured. He's never pulled out of a fight before.
Never.
This is the first one he pulled out of, and I think it's wise.
Alex Pereira says he wants to fight Magomed Ankalaev next, and Daniel Cormier tells us to bet the house on DDP.
I believe that he goes into the fight with Adesanya as the favorite to retain his championship.
We checked in with Michael Vet and Paige, who says there's no bad blood between him and Ian Garry. Brian Ortega says he's out at featherweight and plans on going up to 155 pounds. And Paige VanZant can't get enough exposure for her OnlyFans, so she's joining Power Slap. We have a lot more to cover, plus we'll get to your top comments from yesterday's video. So don't be scared, homie. Knock out the like button, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notification, and in the words of Big John McCarthy,
Let's get it all!
since word broke about Conor pulling out, many have decided to criticize him. Of course, he has a long record of putting on huge performances for MMA fans across the globe, but he's at a different stage in his career now. At the very least, he's made it known he'll never go into another bout if he isn't 100%. In a recent episode of his podcast, Joe Rogan gave his thoughts on the situation.
It's exactly what Pereira had when he beat Jamal Hill. He had a broken toe, too.
A lot of guys have had now it's the pinky toe. A lot of guys I fought with broken pinky toe.
I knew about it in advance. Look, here's the thing about a broken pinky toe. When you're a guy who kicks as much as Conor, it's a fucking problem.
100%.
And it's also the same foot where his leg was snapped and he went into that fight injured. He's never pulled out of a fight before.
Never.
This is the first one he pulled out of, and I think it's wise. Because I think if you do have a broken toe and you are going into a fight and you did go into a fight, the last fight injured, what if that toe becomes a real issue? Like, what if he throws a kick and it smashes again and he's in agony and he can't move?
I thought you and I were going to disagree on this. I couldn't agree more. And you got to realize what's on the line for Conor too.
Yes.
Like he loses this one, the ride's over.
Also,
so why risk it?
You got to be able to get the out of the way with Michael Chandler.
So you're not going to go compromised, and it's the leg that's already up. Like you want your best foot forward, no pun intended.
And he spends a lot of time bouncing on his toes.
Oh yeah,
that's his biggest asset against Chandler. You got to in and out, stick and move, kicks.
You
all
can't
that
do
shit.
that with a broken toe.
You can't tie that toe to the other toe.
You can, but it's going to be compromised.
You're still not a hundo.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Now, if this is Conor 6 years ago, he's fighting all these.
Yeah.
Excuse me, he fought Chad Mendes with a blown knee and still beat him.
I know.
Yeah.
And it was on short notice. Still beat him.
Yep.
So don't get it twisted. Like Conor's a savage and he's a fighter's fighter.
UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira has confirmed his interest in a future showdown with Magomed Ankalaev. Alex Pereira will be defending his UFC light heavyweight championship against Yuri Prohaska at UFC 303. He'll be doing so on short notice, showcasing once and for all why he's such a fan favorite in the world of mixed martial arts. He's putting it all on the line for the fans, and if he comes away with the win, it'll be a huge statement to go alongside everything he's already accomplished. Of course, there are other fighters circling at 205. One of those in the mix is Magomed Ankalaev, who has proven time and time again why he believes he deserves a crack at the belt. So far, though, he's failed to claim the strap. In a recent interview with Stake.com, Pereira made it clear that he's hungry to prove himself against Ankalaev. Pereira said Magomed Ankalaev is a guy I would like to test myself against. A lot of people talk about that matchup and say that he will submit me really quickly. I would like to shut a lot of those people up and show a lot of my ground game as well. It won't be an easy fight, but it will be a very interesting fight. Shortly after the middleweight title fight for UFC 305 was confirmed, it was reported that Israel Adesanya had opened as the slight favorite over champion Dricus du Plessis. While it's rare for a UFC champion to open as the underdog against an upcoming challenger, this certainly won't faze DDP in the slightest. In fact, he also opened as an underdog against both Robert Whittaker and Sean Strickland en route to his middleweight championship run. There are also those within the MMA community who believe the UFC champion should actually be the favorite over Adesanya.
Dricus du Plessis does things different, and I have been called a hater of his style. But he has won, and now I believe that he goes into the fight with Adesanya as the favorite to retain his championship. This young man can wrestle, he can strike, he's got great cardio. But in Israel Adesanya, you have one of the greatest middleweights of all time who wants nothing more than to become champion again. But not only become champion, Izzy thrives in tough situations. Izzy dominated Paulo Costa very quickly because he was mad at him. He doesn't like Dricus du Plessis. I'm excited to see that angry Izzy.
Yeah, I think stylistically, I think Dricus has a good shot. I think he has a good chance. That's the direction that I'm leaning, because we saw the pressure that Dricus was able to push on Sean, who's a pressure fighter, have a lot of success with that. And we saw Sean pressure fight Izzy and have a lot of success with that. So, you know, doing MMA math, you would think that Dricus gets his hand raised, but you know, that's not how fights roll out. But I'll be there watching at the very least.
Following his debut victory over Kevin Holland, British superstar Michael Venom Page returns to action at UFC 303 next weekend to face the ever-entertaining yet ever-divisive Ian Garry. Heated online exchanges have been commonplace between the two, with Page speaking to David Adesanya, brother of Israel, about the trash talking that's been going on in the build-up to UFC 303.
Yeah, now for me, it's just a little bit of fun, like a little bit of banter, a little back and forth. I know he's the kind of guy that usually bites to those kind of things, and I like it. You know what I mean? That's on my side. I don't know for his side. I just like that kind of thing. Like for me, it's all fun and games. Why not? We stress ourselves out in the gym enough. I just want to make every other aspect of what I'm doing as enjoyable as possible. So I love to be creative and, you know, make fun memes or funny videos or whatever it is, and have like a little back and forth. Again, I think it's good for the fans as well. But yeah, nah, for me, it's just more about just having a bit of a fun build up and then just going in there. It doesn't really change how I'm going to handle you in there, you know? So yeah, I don't have no bad blood against him.
Enjoy Brian Ortega's fight against Diego Lopes at UFC 303 because it may be the last time we see T-City fighting at featherweight for a while. Ortega is the latest fighter to step up and help the UFC save a card in crisis after Conor McGregor withdrew from the June 29th card with 2 weeks' notice. He'll face hotshot finish machine Diego Lopes on the show's new co-main event. The bout was a welcome fight for the #3 featherweight contender who is struggling to find a fight and purpose at 145 pounds. Because of that, he plans on moving up to 155 for a while after the Lopez fight, no matter what the outcome in Las Vegas.
We talked about fighting September 14th at the Sphere. Mm-hmm. That's the only conversation that I legitimately had with them that made sense. I said yes to it, they said yes to it, we all got excited. And that was kind of the works. They told me that my weight class had no one really that they wanted me to fight. They didn't really want me to fight contenders and stuff. So I decided to move to 155.
Oh, it's going to be a 55 fight.
Yeah.
Did they have a name yet?
Yeah. I can't say it.
Because it might still happen?
It might still happen, yeah. Okay. And I hope it does.
And I'm kind of thrown for a loop now, given what you said about moving to lightweight and that being the plan. I was going to be like, hey, do you think an amazing performance, you can go in here and like jump max and maybe get the fight with Ilya? Like, who knows, all that stuff. But is that all?
That's not happening at all. Like I told someone else, there's no title fight for me anytime soon.
Why do you think that? I mean, you're coming off an amazing win. You beat Diego. You've never fought Ilya. There's a case to be made for Max. You fought him so long ago. Why do you not think you're in that picture?
Because of what's going on in the game. Max has a guaranteed title shot and Volk does as well. So even when Topuria does fight, he fights Max. If Max wins, it's Max versus Volk 4, which is going to take up to next year. If Topuria wins, then it's Topuria versus Volk #2, and I still have to wait till next year. So when I say the title fight's not coming anytime soon, it's not, because of the favors that both of them have done, the leaps and the risks that they both have taken. You know, Volk on 2 weeks' notice as well against Islam, and Max against Gaethje. Although it was a full camp, he faced Gaethje at the BMF belt. So both of them. It's a lot. Everyone's done a lot. So for me to say that I'm there and I deserve it right now, it's not true. No. Selfishly, of course. That's since I was a kid, man. I've been chasing to be a champion. But reality, you have to make peace with reality, and that's the reality of this game right now. That's where it's at. That's where we're going, and. So why not just have fun with my career then?
You heard it here first, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully the cat's not out of the bag already. But yeah, I just signed a contract. And whether motherfuckers like it or not, I am doing power slap. Woo!
She is doing the power slap.
Ow, ow, ow.
You're a nut.
I just signed a contract to power slap because you know what? I'm fucking.
You are a nut.
I'm fucking Paige VanZant.
Yeah.
I was in the UFC, bare knuckle boxing. Now I'm doing power slap.
Is your goal to do like every combat
I'm just gonna
sport
do it.
you
I'm gonna
can
do literally everything and just piss everybody off.
It's crazy.
Just signed
Can
my
I be honest
What?
with you? I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch.
Oh, you're gonna enjoy it.
I'm not going to enjoy that.
I bet you get a boner.
I am not going to enjoy that.
Anyways, it is on the 28th of this month.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
UFC CEO Dana White is once again in the Paige VanZant business. VanZant surprised fight fans when she first stepped into the world of bare-knuckle boxing under the BKFC banner. She has once again turned some heads, this time by dipping her toes in the slap fighting waters. Dana White has been in business with VanZant before, as 12 Gauge once threw leather inside the octagon for the UFC. During the UFC Saudi Arabia post-fight press conference, White said Paige is the first significant name to cross over into power slap.
You know, I said this would happen. I said that you're going to start to see people crossing over into power slap, and yeah, Paige is the first that, you know, that everybody knows and has such a big following.
VanZant will face Christine Wolmarans inside the UFC Apex on Friday. Wolmarans is winless in slap fighting. It won't be long before we find out whether or not the power slap debut of Paige VanZant will be a successful one. Sharaputdin Magomedov defeated Antonio Tricoli to keep his undefeated run going in mixed martial arts. He's a rising contender, and he's set to be a big player in the years to come. Meanwhile, there's another rising prospect on the way, and his name is Bo Nickal. While he may have rubbed some people the wrong way, there's no denying that Bo wants all the smoke. The former amateur wrestling star wants to take on all the big names he possibly can, and he wants to do it as quickly as possible. Of course, there's no guarantee of his success, but he isn't afraid to call out anyone and everyone. Following Magomedov's win, Nickal made it crystal clear that he wants to fight him. Shara, in response, made it known that he's also interested, but he isn't afraid.
Speaking about tops, you're being called out by Bo Nickal. He's somebody who UFC is pushing forward. Are you interested with the fight against him?
Да, Бо Никал это интересный соперник, interesting fight, interesting opponent. This good wrestling. Wrestling now mean no problem. I'm from Dagestan, you know, brother, Russian. Russian man, Iceman, no problem. Wrestling, takedown, no problem. Dangerous damage, elbow, knee. Let's go.
Michael Bisping scolds Kelvin Gastelum following UFC Saudi Arabia weight fiasco. He clearly wasn't dieting. Gastelum may have emerged victorious in a good scrap with Daniel Rodriguez, but the talk surrounding Kelvin has been on his weight. Gastelum once again could not make the contracted weight for a welterweight matchup. Thus, his bout with D-Rod was changed to a middleweight contest just prior to fight night. Many within the MMA world have given Gastelum flack for constantly having issues when it comes time to step on the scale. Even UFC CEO Dana White expressed disappointment in him. On the UFC Saudi Arabia post-show, Michael Bisping said that while he enjoyed the fight, he thinks he should take a hard look in the mirror and figure how to address his current situation.
Right, listen, Kelvin Gastelum, this fight was scheduled against Daniel Rodriguez at 170 pounds. On the Thursday, it got changed to 185 because Kelvin couldn't make weight. Right, the story was apparently he was messed around with his travel, but he wasn't. He's been in Saudi Arabia for about 2 weeks. So that tells me that he wasn't dedicated. He wasn't doing what he needed to. Or, if you listen to Dominic Cruz will tell you that anybody that misses weight, that anybody does it in that kind of fashion, that is the strategy. Because Daniel Rodriguez came into the fighting meetings and he was pissed off. He's been living off lettuce and bloody, carrot shavings for the last God knows how long or whatever. Shredding carrot. There you go. That's what I said on commentary. But he's been dieting down. He looks sucked in. But he's been doing all the hard work. He's been making sacrifice. He's been going without all the carbohydrates, recovering properly, right? Burning muscle because he's training so hard and you can't take on the calories. And it looked like, and I joked about this on air, but it's true. Kelvin Gastelum looked a little soft. Looked like he'd been enjoying pasta, rice, potatoes, steaks, you name it. He's been enjoying it. He even did a little video called Missing Weight with Kelvin Gastelum. Said 3 weeks ago, I'm not going to make weight. And he didn't make weight by 15 pounds. So he should be embarrassed about that. And he did say some words on the microphone, which was nice and welcomed. And he apologized, and rightly so. But it was a fun fight. Rodriguez showed up. Rodriguez showed a lot of heart. He showed that he's got a great chin, and he showed that he's willing to stand toe-to-toe with the dangerous Kelvin Gastelum, because Kelvin was dangerous tonight. He's got a nasty left hand, that straight left. This one, it's late. It's 3 o'clock in the morning here. I'm getting on a plane soon. I know firsthand. It's fast, it's powerful, it's got knockout ability. Daniel Rodriguez took all of his best shots, carried on fighting. It was a tremendous performance, and Kelvin Gastelum got the win. But what do you do next with Kelvin, right? The company isn't going to have too much faith in him, booking him at welterweight, but he says he wants to fight at welterweight.
Mike Perry is planning to play spoiler in a big way when he gets his shot at Jake Paul in the ring next month. The pair have had a long-standing feud dating back to a sparring session when the YouTube star was a young pro. There's footage of Perry telling Paul that he kicked my ass, but he has since claimed that it was a much more even session and that he caused his rival problems.
It's a wrap. He said he's done. He said he already's backing out because I don't love him. I'm gonna love him so good on July 20th. This shit.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, right at the end of Hell One, because he's like, I love you, Mike. And I was like, I'll love you after.
I'll love you after.
After July 20th, I'll love you. I'm just a fighter. That's how I am. I can't help it. That's just, Jake trying to make me like him. Like, I'm not gonna, but then you talk shit. So obviously that's what we do. We talk a little shit, but then we're gonna fight about it. Let's have a good fight. That's what I'm in it for. I want to have a banger. I want to fucking punch you in the face. I want to get punched in my face. I want to hit you harder, and I want to get my hand raised. Let's not skip a beat here. I'm in this to win this, and I'm very passionate about it. I'm very intense about it. I can't control it. I do my best to be a professional and follow all the guidelines, as well as be who I am. And I'm an energetic pro fighter who works out every day of my life and jumps up and down. Obviously he's working out too. Whatever, man. We can have similarities and we can have differences, but when we get in the ring, I'm truly different.
Now let's take a look at the top 3 comments left on yesterday's video. At Grammite says, does anybody really care about McChicken? Habib took his soul, and Habib is ragdolling his soul ever since. Go away and regain your soul and learn to live with that. You have messed around and used Chandler. This says a lot about your character. At Martin Lee Randall says, I love how they just robbed Strickland, froze Strickland out, and basically ignored the fact that Strickland was ever champion and doesn't even acknowledge him as the #1 contender, and are now arranging the next 10 title fights in a row without the mention of Strickland. But the UFC lets fighters say and believe what they want, with no repercussions at all. Yeah. And at Gar915 says, I'm surprised they want women in Saudi. If you want your comments highlighted on tomorrow's video, simply comment down below. We'll highlight the top best comments, good, bad, or indifferent, and feature them in tomorrow's video. And that does it for today's video, but make sure you're liking this video, subscribing to this channel, and clicking the bell notification so you can get notified every time we drop a new video. And in case you missed it, check out yesterday's news.